we are going to break down some very big topics in terms of nutrition, cardio, training, and your overall healthy lifestyle. We're gonna break down those things in 10 minutes or less so that I can give you some practical advice on these things that you can take with you and you can apply into your life and your healthy lifestyle so that you can achieve the physique that you want. So let's go ahead, let's dive into today's topic, and we are going to be talking about how to figure out your starting macros for your fat loss phase. Summer is coming up. We all know we want to be ready for that time, whether it's the beach, the lake, a barbecue, what have you. We all want to shed a few pounds. So how do we find our starting macros for fat loss? Well, if you're someone that has not been tracking lately, this is something that you are definitely going to want to start doing. If it has been a while, it's a very easy setup. All you need to do is go ahead, you are going to track your food intake for 5 to 7 days so that you can start to get a rough average. Here, I do recommend, if you've never really tracked before, try not to worry too much about your protein, your carbs, and your fats at the moment. I always recommend just getting those calories tracked over those 5 to 7 days, and then as you start to progress and start to get those numbers, that's when you can maybe focus on a little bit more on your protein, carbs, and fats. But to get started, just really need to know where your total calories are at. So like I said, 5-7 days of your calories. My advice is try not to change too much of your eating habits that you do have. It is a very normal thing to just want to change everything right away when we start on our journey, but at least for these few days, we do want to try and get as accurate as a representation of how much food you are actually consuming. So try and keep things fairly similar. There are going to be some things that might change, but you do want to keep it the same. So you do those 5 to 7 days, you get your calories, you add them all up over those days, and then you're gonna get your average, okay? So you're gonna just take the average from those tracking days. So from there, once we have our average, now we can transition into finding our starting macros, okay? So you are gonna take your total amount of calories and you're gonna set your protein first. So for the protein, you are gonna want to be anywhere from 0.8 grams per pound or up to 1.2 grams per pound. You can be within that range and you are going to get the what you need from those amounts of protein. My recommendation is that if your protein intake just does tend to be a lot lower, which for most people it is, start at the low end, 0.8, because that can be a tougher macronutrient to eat a lot of. If it's not something that you are used to, I would not go to 1.2 grams. I would get used to 0.8. As you get used to it, feel free to bump it up to about 1.1 gram per pound, and then you can choose to go further if you would like. But that is all that we need to do for our protein. Second is actually going to be our fats. So we have now our protein calories. We're going to subtract that from our total amount of calories, so we can now figure out our fats. Fats are typically going to be anywhere right around 20% of total calories, okay? So for that, you would take, how much you have left, divide by 9, and that's gonna give you your rough fat number. Now, it doesn't have to be exactly 20%, but we do want it within that range for when we do set that. Then once we have figured that out, we got our protein, we have our fats, we can figure out our calories. So protein times 4, fat times 9, that'll give you the total amount of calories that you have so far. Then you're just gonna take it from the average that you had, subtract what you have left, and that is going to go into your carbs. And for that is exactly like protein times 4. So those will be your starting macros. You can multiply them, make sure they add up to your calories so that you're not overeating, you're not undereating, and then that is your starting point, okay? From there, what I would recommend is that you hold there with those calories, with those macros for about 4 to 6 weeks. So the idea here is that now we do want to start collecting some data. How is the body reacting to this many calories and this much cardio and this much activity? We need to know what's happening. So As long as you are being honest with yourself and you are putting in the work and you are tracking your macros and you're hitting them very closely within 5 to 10 grams each and every day, you can start to track, what the scale is doing, what is your waist doing. I would also recommend, taking starting pictures and then pictures each week so you can see any physique changes as well, and you will start to get an idea of now what you need to do for your next step. If you are losing weight, well then perfect. You don't really necessarily need to do too many changes. You are already getting the results that you want, right? So we're gonna just leave things the same. If we get some immediate fat loss right off the bat for a few weeks, we're gonna ride that wave. Or what might be happening is that you are maintaining your weight over those few weeks, and that's also a good thing because now that gives us an idea of where your maintenance calories are. Now, if you find yourself, over the first 4 weeks that you are gaining weight, then that is something that you may want to look at a little bit more closely. Look at, for sure, reducing your calories to really find where that maintenance level is, because once you're able to kind of find that maintenance, that's gonna make it much easier to make those decisions and what you need to do to start inducing fat loss. So let's say we are at maintenance and we have not gained really any weight over those first 4 to 6 weeks. From there, what we're gonna do is reduce calories by about 20 to 30%, and that should be enough to induce some fat loss. So from there, you will be tracking, you will be weighing yourself every day because we do want to make sure that we are taking care of the daily fluctuations, and you're going to start gathering your average weight on a weekly basis. As long as you are around 1% of total body weight per week, it can be a little bit less, it certainly can be a little bit more, but you don't want to go above 1.5%. You are going to be in the right spot for your fat loss phase where you are going to lose a decent amount of weight every single week, and it's going to be sustainable, and you are going to be able to be consistent with it. And that is how we are going to set up your starting fat loss macros. So that is going to be it for today, gang. Thank you for watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe button so you're not missing out on any future videos. 10 minutes or less, practical advice that you can take with you on your fat loss journey.